Do I have a framework for new products? Yes. Typically what'll happen is we'll get feedback from customers, which we read and listen to, and we'll identify an emerging issue. And so we'll sit down and we'll say, okay, there's a portion of our customers that want to use this product in a certain way. And we'll start to formulate something around it. Is it viable? It always starts out with the question of if it's valid or if it's a viable project. So then it turns into a project phase. And it always starts out with projects. That's my life revolves around projects. The solution becomes the objective. My team and I will sit down and we'll start to talk about some of the ways we can address it, whether it's a variation of a product we already have. But in this case, for this example, we'll say it's a new product. The planning phase starts with how you can address the problem with a solution that is something you can scale. Is it a product we can put out where our ROI makes sense? We start out with a formulation with our chemist. So we'll simply just go to the lab, and it's like something out of a movie. We open up a giant folder of chemicals, seriously, and we sit with a chemist and we start talking about some of the ingredients that have been proven to help with various things. And we will basically concoct a recipe for a product to address that solution. And from that point, we go into our prototyping phase and we have a prototype of the product. That's when we start to do our testing. And it always starts out in a very scaled, controllable way. Friends and family first. Friends and family have no problem telling you what they think. And you have to make it a broad group of people so that you'll get some of the feedback. It's like, everything you do is great. Whatever you guys put out, you don't want that. I mean, it's helpful to some degree, but you really want to get to the meat of it. What's good about it? What's bad about it? What doesn't work? What does work? From there, the prototype starts to evolve. We start to have discussions about what's in it and if people like it. And because these are hair care products, it takes time. You have to see some results. From there, the project moves into the actual development phase. We have to figure out price point. We have to figure out positioning. We have to figure out who our target market is, what channel we're going to put it in. And then the project is working. That's when we start to put the actual package together and get it onto one of our channels. Typically, a starting channel would be something as simple as our direct-to-consumer store. Product will go in there. We have our team develop a description around it and stuff. You know, we've carefully concocted kind of the story behind it, but we really use that DTC product launch as a soft launch to test not just the validity. We get a lot of great customer feedback. We're also at that same time seeding more of a focus group. This is when we go outside of friends and family. We'll start to put together panels. We'll call together a group of 20 or 30 individuals to a location like a restaurant or a hotel, and we'll sit down with the product in unmarked bottles and we'll get feedback live. We also seed to some of our partners who will have dermatologists, doctors, PharmDs, and get their feedback. Basically, this soft launch is when we start to gather real market data from those early adopters that buy the product on our direct-to-consumer site, and usable data from people that aren't friends and family. Doctors and PharmDs are focus groups. From there, we learn in discussing the product, we learn how to better talk about it. And that's when we can start to fine-tune the product description, the value proposition, clearly explaining what the product does, how it solves a problem. And that's when the product really starts to move into the next phase. And that's where we decide, yes, this is a product that we're going to continue on with, or we're going to scrap it. Maybe we turn it into a product that's an add-on for a holiday special. Maybe usually if it makes it to that point, it's not a product that we would just totally walk away from. It's something that we can really identify. Is this something that can stand on its own in the channel, or is it an ancillary? From there, it moves into the full scale. This is where we ramp up production. We'll get into developing the channels for this. Is this product going to go to drug retail, Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS? Is it going to go to the Amazon FBA channel, because you have to be on Amazon to compete? Are we going to sell it overseas? Are we going to put it into those markets? So from there, it's really, now it's a real product. That's when we've turned the project into the SKU, and then that SKU has its own legs. And then from there, it's still listening to customer feedback. Maybe they want to see it in a bundle. Maybe it's part of a new add-on to a regimen. Then the product takes on its own life. Maybe, for example, when we launched our shampoo and conditioner, we realized customers want to buy the two together and they want to buy it with a detangler. Now it's turned in from, it's gone through the concept and the prototyping phase. Now it's part of a larger regimen. From start to finish, we're very careful about how we bring these things out and being mindful the whole way of how the customer's perceiving it, how it's interacting with the customer, and then ultimately ensuring it, getting it into our product mix.